Man, I tell you what, man, you see these dang old bands out there, and they're all real, but all real in the show, and they're all playing the songs, and they're all real, and it hangs over your fake bands and fake bands and accessories. It's a dang old Rockapede fake bandica. Welcome to the Rockapede Fake Bandica. I'm Charles. There's Alan.
Yep.
And there's T-Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And we're heading to Rainy Street, Arlen, Texas for a look at the fake bands of the 1997 to 2010 animated comedy King of the Hill that's about to return. But first, are there any podcast or podcast accessories we need to discuss? Any emails? No. I guess we should probably talk a little bit about, well, if I may quote the Beastie Boy MCA from the song Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun off of Paul's Boutique, had a small problem with the transmission last week, didn't we?
Yeah, that's on me. That's my bad. I didn't get my script done on time.
Well, okay. But we got
you guys pulled it out. You pulled it out. You did great.
I did learn that I could get a podcast done in like 2 days.
That's nice.
So that was, impressive. So we know we got that in our back pocket. Of course, I need, Kelly and Tom to take care of it for me. But,
well,
like I know I can do that. I know that I'm still willing to go see if T-Mike's dead or alive at his house.
That's true, yeah.
That's a positive there too.
I do like the idea. This is like some kind of futuristic Partridge Family where it's like a family that gets together to do a podcast and they travel all around in a multicolored bus.
I'm not sure we're going to travel to do the podcast. We have all the equipment at the house. We were already in the house. That's what made it work. So yeah, we have that going. As we were talking about before, at some point we have the big Spinal Tap shows coming out because Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, comes out on September 12th.
The first show will be next week.
That's right. That's the opening act. It's going to be the Folksmen and the other folk bands from A Mighty Wind.
Yeah.
I did get that one written. It's ready to go.
Oh, good. Okay. Because this is the big one. These are our shows. We want to really focus on these.
I can't let the tap down, man.
Tell your friends. This is going to be good stuff we have.
Yep.
I also want to point out, coming out this Friday, the 8th, Freakier Friday.
Oh, that's right.
And there's fake band and a Pink Slip, if I recall correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that was Lindsay Lohan's character, Anna Coleman, I believe.
That's right.
She was in there, and then, things got freaky on Friday, and now it's going to get freakier on Friday, and I'm assuming the band will be there, or there'll be another fake band in there.
It does look like there's some band. In the ad I've seen, there's a band playing, and so I just wonder, though, is it like a three-way switch? I can't imagine Disney putting on a movie about essentially a grandmother and a mother switching places and the kids going crazy for it. I don't know. I'm
going to say it's grandmother and granddaughter, and the daughter.
Is it? I thought it was the original two again. We're just going to.
I honestly don't know.
I don't know.
We're going to have to go see it on Friday so we can report back on it, I guess, because we know a fake band's in it.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, it could be all three of them, I guess.
I don't think there's been
kind of like a
good body swapping movie since the original, is there?
I honestly, let me think about this.
There's a dying genre.
There's a Prisoner of Benda episode of Futurama, which was great because it involved a giant logic puzzle that they had to write as part of writing the script, which I thought was kind of great.
Oh, that one. Yeah, Lord, that was crazy. They actually had to figure it out.
Yeah, it was actually one of the multiple...
Like, they bothered to figure it out.
Yeah, well, it was like one of the multiple like math permutation problems that actually has been credited to the writing staff of Futurama. Wow. That was kind of fun, so, yeah.
All right, so I guess let's get on to the show here, right?
King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
That was great. It was such a great show.
It was.
Highly recommended.
I always remembered it as being right after The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But when we were looking at it, it seemed like it was bouncing around the schedule all over the place.
They moved it a lot. Yeah, they used it to kind of fill in, and it was a kind of animation show that was very different than what had come before. It weirdly was closer to things that popped up in the 70s, like Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, and these other short-lived animated shows that were really just slice of life comedies. Like they weren't even like the Flintstones and the Jetsons they'd get kind of
they were aimed
crazy.
at adults.
They were aimed at adults, but they also would kind of get wacky. And The Simpsons was aimed at like an older than kids audience, but very quickly would get very wacky and just kind of like silly. And this was always very grounded and such a different kind of comedy.
There was almost nothing I can really think of, but there's probably something that that was like not unreal, not something that would actually happen in real life.
No, it's more like a real sitcom. It's one of the few animated shows that you could have real people do the scripts and you would not miss anything.
Yeah, you really could.
Right?
Yeah.
If it was The Simpsons and all you said, there's something wacky happening.
Right.
And you might not be able to do that in real life, but these, you could do the whole thing because that's what it is, just real life.
And
But that never like hurt the show.
No,
it was never a detriment to it. It was just amazing.
Well, because there's the neighborhoods like that all over the place, right? Every state probably has a neighborhood like Arlen.
Oh yeah. Which is, it was based on Mike Judge's experience growing up in Texas and living in Texas, and he said some of it, Hank Hill, came about because I guess he was trying to fix a fence, and the kind of neighborhood guys who just hung around in the alley realized how incompetent he was, and so they went out and actually just fixed it for him, and he kind of built that into Hank and his buddies. And there's a couple actually episodes about them wanting to get in and help moving things or help working with like a digger or a backhoe or something like that.
Well, you bring up Mike Judge, right? Mike Judge, he's pretty much of a legend if you look at what he's done, right?
Oh, yeah.
He had just come off of Beavis and Butthead, right? Which is an actual cultural phenomenon at the time. Right. It was huge. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
And, they've returned since, they've had shows. But at the time,
it was massive. Yeah.
It was, everybody had Beavis and Butthead t-shirts on.
Yeah.
So
it was very hip. It was cutting edge. It was pretty funny.
It was on MTV like 8 hours of a day kind of thing, it seemed. And they were just showing the videos and they were commenting on the videos. Right. And so it's so huge. And this was his next effort. And
we should mention Beavis and Butthead. There is, in fact, a local connection because they commented on Package Thief by Superchunk, which I remember being so delighted about. Which, if you remember, it's that weird little like kind of stop motion puppet video. And I remember being just over the moon excited about that.
Did it rock or did it suck?
They liked it. They did enjoy it. Yeah, they enjoyed it. Yeah.
So Mike Judge does Beavis and Butthead.
Well, and then he hooks up with Greg Daniels, who later on created The Office. They made the transition of The Office really into what it is, the American Office. Yeah. He's a TV legend as well. And then Mike Judge came here. He did the Beavis and Butthead Take America. Yeah. And I think that might have come out after King of the Hill started. I'm not sure.
So. But he also did Office Space. Right. Yeah. Right. Which, at the time was, it wasn't really acclaimed, but now,
it's become a cult. Yeah. It took time to grow into a cult classic.
Yeah. And how it just almost prescient it is about the Office world. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he did Idiocracy, which was like, I tried to warn you like a decade ahead of time.
Another cult classic.
Another one that I don't think people have watched as much, Extract. It's actually really funny.
I had never heard of it before.
Yeah, Jason Bateman movie.
I watched that one. I felt it was kind of mid. There was a fake band in it, but I felt the whole thing was kind of mid. I don't know.
Mid. This guy,
it was okay.
60-year-old man over here.
Compared to
giant TikTok over here.
Compared to the other two films, come on.
I haven't seen Extract.
It's funny, yeah.
But he did Silicon Valley. Have you seen that? Again, he just seems to be able to skewer and like show parts of the world that you're like everybody. Like you either like everybody knows like a Beavis and Butthead from their life kind of thing. Everybody has like neighbors like King of the Hill kind of thing. But he's also explaining like, this is politics and this is an office world in ways that it seems like almost ahead of its time.
One of the things that I thought was kind of interesting thinking about the show and how it worked in Silicon Valley is one of the things he is willing to do is it's almost like an Errol Morris thing. He just lets the people talk and you kind of, the comedy kind of comes out of it. I don't know whether it has a kind of almost, you just let them go and you watch it happen and it builds slowly. It's not quite as, it doesn't seem as constructed as something like, we talked about 30 Rock recently. Mm-hmm. That is very a writerly show. It's very constructed and everything. this is it's a lot closer to, I mean, another Austin thing of Slacker, you know, of Linklaters kind of stuff, is that it is it almost feels like it might have been some of it improv, but it wasn't. I mean, it was all scripted, but it has a slower moving thing, but that doesn't mean it's not as funny. And oftentimes there's just as many jokes. It's just the energy is different. And
it's definitely feels much more naturalistic. And that's actually part of it. The pleasure of it is it's not like this very, you know, like very obvious sitcom where, you know, beat, joke, beat, you know, sarcastic kid has to say something, but it's like the comedy comes out of this very natural flow of things, which is a great joy to watch.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to point out that, you know, the whole Beavis and Butthead thing, he had the voice for Hank Hill already being used for Tom Anderson. His which was the neighbor. He was a much more hapless.
But he's also older. He was like
character.
He was retired. Yeah.
And I remember when when he stopped doing Beavis and started doing this, I was like, oh, dude, no way. You kept the same voice. This is a total mistake because that character was pathetic. How are we supposed to, you know, sympathize? I'm only going to ever think about Tom Anderson. But I completely forgot about Tom Anderson. So
never thought.
But and I was also impressed because I didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off because Beavis and Butthead like a half, 2/3 of it was them reacting to actual music videos. He didn't have to write a lot. He didn't have to animate stuff. They could go on for like 30 seconds and not comment on the actual video or something.
And also a lot of the ones that they did show the movies of them, like, you know, like Frog Baseball, there wasn't a lot of depth to that.
No. Well, that was like the earliest bit he did. That was almost like that was a little like I think that showed up on Liquid Television.
Yeah, that was the first time I think I saw it. But yeah, even a lot of the plots were just so, you know, goofy and silly that it didn't. Yeah.
So I was impressed when King of the Hill turned out to be a solid show. It was much better than I thought. I thought, well, he's doing like this kind of crude comedy. It's funny as hell, but it's kind of like simple and crude and then he surprised the hell out of me and he did
but it went on for, you know, for what, 13 seasons?
13 seasons.
14th one coming up, and then it won 2 Emmys. It had a bunch of Annie Awards, animation awards. And I was saying this to Charles is that when the show was still on the air, the New York Times chief TV critic, James Poniwazik, he named it one of the top 100 American TV shows of all time.
Wow.
It was actually still on the air, and he was saying that he was always a big supporter of it. He wrote multiple things on it, but there's a Texas Monthly magazine. They just put out a special edition. Their August edition has a big chunk of it about the return of King of the Hill.
Cool.
And there's an appreciation of the show by the former AV Club editor, Sean O'Neill, who was editor of AV Club, which is Outgrowth of the Onion for 7-8 years or something like that. And he described the show as, quote, the most significant work of Texas culture of the past 30 years.
Now that just seems like over the top there.
Possibly, maybe. I don't know.
But let me think though. What else could it be though? I mean, Beyonce's from Texas.
Oh, okay.
Is she okay?
Well, Post Malone, I think, from Texas.
Yeah. So that's a good point. But he did make a point where a lot of the show was kind of engaging that tension between the depictions of Texas as cowboy country and Dallas and all this kind of like everyone has a mansion and a giant estate and they ride horses everywhere and
it's all boom and bust. It's all oil business. It's all
and the boring growing up in the suburbs that is anywhere, could be anywhere.
Right,
and that was really Arlen could be anywhere. I mean, there was definitely some Texas things, but a lot of the scripts would have worked fine in any other state.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So,
any sort of suburb of like a bigger place kind of thing. It could be like, it could be, you could have it in Cary, kind of here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not Cary. Jamestown,
yes. As we mentioned, it is coming back to TV, kind of. It's going to premiere a revival on August 4 on Hulu.
That's today.
It is today, yeah.
Unless you're not listening to it on the 4th when this comes out.
Yes, it could possibly have been yesterday or 2 days ago.
Or last year.
Don't, it was 2 years ago. You'd be excited about it. Anyway, the plan is for there to be 2 seasons of the show, and the story has jumped ahead some, and it's not quite the same time frame because Bobby is in his early 20s. He's like 21.
We probably should explain the characters before we start naming these guys.
That's true, yeah.
So you have a family called the Hills.
The Hills, yeah.
That's King of the Hill.
Yeah. And that's Hank Hill, voiced by Mike Judge.
Right.
And then Kathy Najimy voices Peggy Hill.
Right.
Peggy Platter Hill.
Yes.
And she is Hank sells propane and propane accessories for Strickland Propane. And his big competitor is
Fatherton. I love that.
Fatherton Fuels.
Something always comes up as Fatherton. I think it was Burt Reynolds. I think was the original Fatherton,
right,
and then I forget who plays.
Might
it
have been
now.
Toby Huss. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Toby Huss does a lot.
He does a lot of stuff.
He was a great
He's an
voice
anchor.
actor.
And Kathy Jimmy, as we mentioned, is Peggy Hill. She is a substitute Spanish teacher in the middle school, and she speaks Spanish incredibly poorly.
Possibly.
Her accent is just
not even. It's just
Hola, me Lamo Peggy Hill. And
excuse me.
yes. And
Are you enjoying those corn tortillas over there?
She has one episode where she gets in Mexico and she gets in trouble for accidentally kidnapping a child, bringing a kid she didn't know
was in the car.
Actually in Mexico, back in the bus with them. And then as she speaks to the judge, and she mentions that she's very embarazado, which means pregnant. so there's a lot of that kind of stuff that. And so you don't actually know any Spanish to know that she's doing a terrible job. Yeah. And Bobby so Hank has a narrow urethra, which comes up again and again in the show. And Bobby's their only son.
That's why
he's the miracle boy.
Yeah. Miracle
somehow.
Baby. Yeah. And so his older sibling, I guess, is Ladybird, their dog. So they have a purebred bloodhound named Ladybird.
Ancient dog.
Bobby is like a tween, in the show, and he is kind of doughy, and he's an inside kid,
That's a very nice way of putting it.
Hank is an outside guy, and he's an inside kid. So
right. Hank growing up was like the star of the football teams, or one of the stars of the football team. He was always just big, action kind of guy.
Yeah, and then Bobby wants to be a prop comic.
Yeah, or among other things, that's one of the things he wants to be.
And Tim, I killed a joke that comes later in the show.
Ah, crap.
Okay.
Well, we can explain later.
In the show, it ends very nicely. Well, it originally ended very nicely with Bobby getting onto the meat grading team, which is actually a real competition.
Really?
And, yes.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's on the local community college, or the junior college's meat grading team. Yeah. And then they have a little thing where he's cooking out, and Hank lets him run his grill, because Hank's all about grilling, and he lets run his grill. And it kind of pans out as an echo of the original beginning of the show, because the show begins with a nice little pan in. And then Fox ran these 4 other episodes that they had just sitting around afterwards, and it was like, he kind of killed the ending, but okay. But that was where we left it. And so Bobby was in middle school,
right? And they didn't really age; they just basically just stayed at the same time.
They had one. I think they had one birthday, and they did age up Joseph, who was their next door neighbor. So the other people on the street are the Gribbles. So it's Dale.
Joseph Gribble went away to summer camp and came back, and puberty had punched him in the face.
So that was the son of Dale Gribble and Nancy Hicks Gribble. Dale is a bug. He's an exterminator, and Nancy Hicks Gribble is a local weather girl, as she describes herself.
Well, according to the paperwork, it's Dale. Dale's the father.
The real father was John Redcorn, who we'll talk about in just a little bit. And then there's also
Dale is also a conspiracy enthusiast.
Yes, and then Bill Dauterive, who was a kind of a schlubby loser, voiced by Stephen Root, and he's so great. And then Boomhauer, who spoke like who done by Mike Judge, and he spoke like Charles did. I tried to for the intro. I tried to do him justice. He was inspired by a voicemail message that Mike Judge got when he was making Beavis and Butthead, and some guy called up and just talked to him like that, and so he just started imitating that voicemail message, and it became. But I didn't realize about Boomhauer. Like, you never knew what his name is until I think the very end. You find out his name is Jeff. Yeah, Jeff Boomhauer, and he's a Texas Ranger. I was going to say
that's the other thing. You never find out his job.
They said at one point, suppose he was an electrician that was living on workers' comp.
Yeah, but then he was actually a secret Texas Ranger. Yeah, hard to believe. Yeah. Nice. And then there's a bunch of other people in town, and we'll talk some more about some of them. But those are the core people. Right. Oh, the other people we should mention are the Super Newsomophones, who were this Laotian couple who moved in next door, and they were kind of Hank's enemies, like or rivals or whatever. They were kind of these snobs, and
it wasn't like he was just racist against them. They were actually unlikable.
No, he talked about like why is it I can't hate a man just because I can't not like him because he's not likable, not like that he's So they're all coming back. Apparently, all the core people are coming back.
Right. There was also Luann was one of the characters, but she won't be coming back. I don't think so.
Because she was Peggy's niece, right?
Yeah. And we'll talk about her in a little bit too. Okay, so she has some connections as well. So
all right, so that's then.
Yeah.
And so many great episodes.
Yeah, so many great episodes. It's really worth seeing. It's all on Hulu. It's worth watching. It's a fun
and they didn't force stereotypes on anybody. They could have easily done that, but part of the joy of the show is these are very real people, and they're not just and nobody really got Flanderized that I can think of either. They kept them rich, they kept them whole. They didn't just push them into little pigeonholes and stereotypes. That was just great.
So that's then. So now we have the new episodes coming out on Hulu.
Right. And they're coming, it's about, Bobby's now in his early 20s. He's a chef. And we know that. And we know that Hank and Peggy at some point sold their house and moved to Saudi Arabia to make money in the petrochemical industry.
They sold the house? Mm-hmm. They're not back in the house?
They are back in the house. So they sold the house, someone moved in, then they came back and they bought the house again. They moved back into their house. So
kind of funny they went to the trouble of getting their old house back, which is fun.
I mean, I can see Hank was proud of it because that house was built by the grandson of T. Emerson Kearney or T. something Kearney, who was fired the first shot at the Battle of Gonzales.
Wow.
This is the crap that I remember, people. I remember this stuff. I honestly, I get, basic math mixed up, but I can remember T. Anderson Kearney fired the first shot of the Battle of Gonzales. And so, anyway.
I heard that they were coming back from Saudi Arabia for a job. And it just doesn't, for me, I can't wait to see how they explain it. Because it seems like it's out of character.
Yeah. Although I can see Strickland gambling away, Strickland propane or something. So Mr. Strickland was a inveterate gambler and womanizer. So I could see him losing that. So.
I don't know. I was reading some reviews that were saying that actually was not unheard of. That wouldn't be that uncommon in the the petro industry, for people to just take a chunk of their time and go overseas, make a bunch of money and then come back.
But he was a salesman, basically.
You're right. Yeah. It's a little weird that he wasn't if he's not an oil driller or a rig worker.
Yeah, I don't know that propane and propane accessories exactly counts as being
part
of petrochemical. You're right.
You got me there. You totally got me there. I don't know. You're right. I have no idea.
I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how they explain it because it seems just like it's out of character for them to do it.
Well, let's watch the show now. Oh! No, we actually haven't watched the show. Anyway, so the show...
That explains everything.
The reboot starts with... Or not really reboot. Restart starts with them coming back to Arlen and they kind of restart their lives. So bands. Let's talk about bands. And we mentioned him already. We've talked about the most active musical performer, John Redcorn, and his band, Big Mountain Fudge Cake, in our Thanksgiving show.
I am the Reaper, the collector of souls. I am the taker and the smasher of bones. Mothers cry, children die alone.
And that's a little bit of John Redcorn there, the I am the Reaper of Souls. From what we know, Jonathan Joss apparently recorded several appearances for the revival before he passed. And so there may be more John Redcorn music, we don't know, coming up. It's possible because he was a children's musician by the end of the show.
Right.
And he was actually fairly successful children's musician. I mean, given the fact they already recast the character when
they did
when Victor Aaron died after the first season.
Right. Sorry, I thought you meant that it was news that they actually had extended the current.
I guess it's been 28 years since the show started, so it should be surprising. But there have been a lot of passings of characters. Because it was Johnny Hardwick who plays Dale Gribble. He just passed away.
Yeah, Toby Huss is going to do the voice now.
Although he did record, I think, the first 6 episodes.
I think so. Yeah, he recorded some of them, and one of the other members of Big Mountain Fudge Cake, of course. Died. Tom Petty
Lucky, who was Luann's
Lucky Kleinschmidt, who was Luann's husband, and Luann was played by Brittany Murphy, who died. And so it's there's been a lot. So
I mean, it will be interesting how they replace people.
Another one is another major musical character. So first off, for John Redcorn, go back to our Thanksgiving show. There's a whole bunch of stuff about him.
Yeah, I think you did a good job on it that time.
Yeah. There's another major musical character who was real, but who had a fake story. And who also died in 2025.
Oh, just recently.
Yeah, kind of weird. Got a little scary here. We're talking about Chuck Mangione, the voice of Megalomart.
Right.
That guy. That's the 70s right there.
Megalomart is their equivalent of Walmart. It's a giant superstore. And weirdly, it shows up again in the show Bless the Hearts. You remember that show? It was only on the first season. Kristen Wiig was in it. It was created by someone who grew up in the Triad area, in Triad, North Carolina.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I think it's supposed to be almost like Kernersville kind of thing in that area.
They're in Greenpoint. It's like a combination of Greensboro and High Point. Yeah. And so set there, but they have Megalomarts there. And so she used to write for King of the Hill and borrowed it. So it's kind of this weird thing where they're in the same fictional universe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chuck Mangione was the voice of Megalomart. He popped up throughout the show. Early on, he becomes a spokesman. He gets blown up when along with Hank when the Megalomart explodes, and so
that was so big.
So technically, he died in 2003 when that episode.
No, he didn't die then. He just got blown up. He
survived.
Yeah, he survived. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He's even shown living inside the Megalomart in the January 13, 2003 episode Megalodale because he signed a contract that made him go to every opening, and there were so many of them. And he was hiding from the Megalomart people. In the last place, they look, a Megalomart.
Yeah, there you go.
And so a running gag is that everything he plays ends up turning into Feels So Good.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Kudos to him for being a good sport about it.
Seriously, yeah.
I mean, the show's basically calling him a one-hit wonder.
That song.
And he had multiple Grammys, and he was not a one-hit wonder, although, for a lot of people, he was. I mean, that's the only thing they know him. But he actually released a song called Peggy Hill on his 2000 album, Everything for Love. So he is a good sport, I have to say.
So does Feel So Good? Is that for some reason? I just want to say it's not really yacht. It's jazzy, but it seems like yacht rock. It seems like it's something you would listen to.
It's yacht rock adjacent.
Yeah. It's so 70s.
Yeah.
It is.
I think in the same way that Rocket is like hip hop adjacent. So it's technically a jazz musician or a funk musician, but it's kind of in hip hop. Yeah, this is like, he's technically a jazz musician, but that's really in yacht rock. Yeah,
it kind of just seems like that like if you were going to listen to yacht rock, you would hear that and you'd be like, "Oh, this is the jam."
Yeah. John Redcorn, and then Chuck Mangione. Chuck Mangione is actually a real person, and so let's talk about the fake bands on the show. And I should note that the show actually begins in the pilot. There's a fake performer who recorded things, but they're not a fake band.
Right.
So Bobby's listening to the funny phone jerks who do like Jerky Boys style prank calls, and Hank wants to listen to it. And he has a great reaction of, Mother of God, it's all toilet sounds.
Not tell you what.
But the first fake music element appears in the 4th episode, and that's February 9th, 1997. And that's the episode Hank's Got the Willies, when we meet Betsy, which is Hank's 1963 Guild solid top acoustic guitar.
Well, that's right.
Who actually pops up multiple times in the show. Betsy is a recurring character.
Like the dog.
And that's when we learn a terrible secret about Bobby. Against all sanity, and in a move that horrified the nation, he announced that his dream was to grow up to be a prop comic.
Thanks, Carrot Top. You ruined a generation.
I do have to say, I thought I put in our notes, maybe we should mention Michael Rayner.
That guy,
he was a friend of the Van Gogos. He's a great entertainer, and
fantastic.
He's a prop comic.
He pops up every so often. And he's a master juggler too.
Yeah, I think it's more that it's not that he's doing like prop jokes. He's doing like the juggling and the tricks and the balance.
Every so often he'll pop up like on Instagram or TikTok.
Keeps coming back, man.
A lot of times it's he's the guy who runs the McDonald's cheeseburger on an umbrella.
Yeah,
and that pops up every 6 months.
We saw that. We saw that live.
Yeah, several times.
Yeah, it is one of those things. Every time I see it, it pops up, and he gets a little older, and then I look in the mirrir. I'm like,
but he's a charming guy. He's a great guy. Yeah. His wife was even more charming. Yeah. They were a great couple. It's great to know them in LA.
Ooh, T-Mike's taking a stand there, I think. So
there are some good prop comics, is what you're saying.
But Bobby's hero is Celery Head. It was obviously a parody of Carrot Top.
Yeah.
And one of his bits involves playing a guitar with a piece of cheese and saying, "Look at me, I'm Eddie Cheddar." T-Mike, I want a ruling on that one.
Oh, Eddie Cheddar
is a fake musician made up by a fake prop comic in a fake universe. Does Eddie Cheddar count?
I think I could get it. Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. It's meta. We have a lot of metafictional ones that are fictional within the
He
fictional
didn't
universe.
use Betsy to do the
dear
cheese,
God.
did he?
He put cheese on it. So Hank had to go take it. And I remember he said, like, boy, you've been playing this with your feet.
This might
So-
be the first that boy
Yeah.
right.
So Betsy introduces to our first kind of fake musician, which in the lore of the show, Hank Hill plays guitar actually fairly well.
Oh, that's true.
He got Betsy in high school and he used her to write and perform his signature hit, Peggy Peg.
Well, I know a gal with a purty leg. She's a gal who can fry my egg. And her name is Peg. Well, Peggy, Peg, Peggy, Peg, hey, 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 a leg, oh, Peggy, my Peggy leg. Well, I love you and I love you, Peggy, Peg. Well, then it just sort of goes off into a Buddy Holly riff.
I forgot about that.
So this episode, this is Hank gets the Willies. It also introduces the big guest star musician, Hall of Fame, Rocklopedia Fake Bandit Hall of Fame member, Willie Nelson.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what character he plays.
He plays
was
Willie.
It,
He plays Willie Nelson.
was it like some one
Yeah.
syllable word
No.
name ending in a hard?
He just plays
sound?
Willie, yeah. So,
Damn it.
but he and Hank do duet on a nice little piece over the closing credit.
Just gotta hold it just a little longer before you go to F. Now? That's a good spot, yeah. Do it again.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
very
nice.
nice,
Actually, pretty nice. So then in 2 episodes later, in Hank's Unmentionable Problem, which is about being constipated, Hank mentions that he could pick out the tunes to Presidents of the United States Peaches. So he's definitely talented, yeah. Now, that said, he doesn't ever perform on stage in the world of the show. So he may not count. I don't know. He's playing for Peggy. He's kind of showing Bobby this song he wrote for her, but he's not actually a performer.
Okay, well, I don't know. Since he wrote a song, I think that puts him
counts.
more firmly in the fake bank territory because we're trying to avoid what we call the Ernies.
Well, didn't Ernie write Rubber Ducky?
It's not clear.
That just might be an improv jam that he did.
I think it was yeah. So the
I like to think
Ernie singing. Say, for those who don't know, Ernie singing "Rubber Duck." It was like a actual charting hit for him.
Yeah.
But within his own reality, he's just a dude in his shower making up a song, going la la la, like you would with the great acoustics in there. So that doesn't actually count for our purposes as a fake band.
He's in a bathtub. He's not in the shower. It
Thank
makes no
you.
sense playing with a rubber duck in the shower. You have to be insane playing with a rubber duck in the shower.
Fair.
And I believe that the words to the song it was like on a piece of paper that Burt Bacharach slipped under his. He was living.
I didn't
right
know
above-
Bert's last name.
Yeah, Burt Bacharach. Yeah, he didn't realize that. Yeah,
I didn't realize that was his last name.
Yeah, Burt Bacharach. It's Ernie Bushmiller and creator of Nancy and
That
Burt
was
Bacharach.
Hal, Ernie Davis, and Burt Bacharach.
Anyway,
All right.
so this is not true for Peggy. She actually is shown performing a song that she wrote in the May 10th, 1998 episode, Peggy's Turtle Song. This is a great episode because Bobby gets up early and eating a lot of sugared cereal, and Peggy has to leave early, so she tells him to eat more cereal so it'll be full up. And then Hank, seeing that he's eating something called like oatmeal crisp or whatever, is like, oh, you better put some sugar on that because oatmeal's no fun. So then he eats even more. So he gets totally wigged out on sugar and he gets diagnosed by the school nurse as having ADD. So, which is funny because how much of work it is to get a kid diagnosed with ADD is
for
a
real.
lot more than it's not just the school nurse saying it.
It is funny how much Bobby has. Like Bobby gets caught smoking, and he has all those things with smoking. There's a point with the ants at some point, and he has brings the sugar in, and kind of spits the sugar in.
Yeah.
He always has these little things like this that just kind of snowballs.
There you do, yes. So Peggy decides to stop working as a substitute teacher to be a stay-at-home mom, even though Bobby would not be at home during the day when she goes up to work. That was when rewatching this, I'm like, wait a second.
She's at the school already.
But Hank's theory is because that Bobby needs more attention because he has attention deficit disorder. So maybe that's what it is. He's not getting of attention. She's bored. She starts taking classes with a local guitar teacher named Emily.
Yeah, that gal there, she's dressed kind of pro-choice.
So that's her thoughts on Emily. That she's she is dressed a little pro-choice. She has combat boots and she's got green hair.
Yeah.
And she sponsors an open mic show on Mother's Day, and Peggy debuts a song that she wrote about a turtle whose shell was both a home and a prison. So Emily liked her for the subtext, but then after Hank lets her use Betsy for the show, Peggy ends up turning it into a little love song for Hank.
Hey, I want you to give a lot of support to our next artist, Peggy Hill, everybody. Peggy's here to sing a song about how a woman feels when the world tells her who she has to be.
Huh? Oh, no, actually, I'm singing the one about the turtle that's stuck in her shell. And I'd like to dedicate this to my husband.
There once was a turtle who lived in her shell. The shell was her home and her prison as well. One day she got frightened, she wanted to hide, so she tucked her head into the safety inside. But then came a moment of terrible doubt. She could not find any head hole to poke out.
Get rid of that control freak. Fight corporate weight male oppression.
I thought the song was just about a turtle, Dad.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm sorry. I'm just a little bit flustered.
Speak your mind. Look what he's doing to you. I got a number.
You can do it, Peggy, from the heart.
But a miracle saved her before her heart sang. The magical love of a turtle named Hank. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Kind of copped out at the end there, didn't she?
Oh, that's
How
sweet.
sweet.
Much to Emily's disappointment, though.
Well, Emily is an interesting character because she's played by a real musician, but she doesn't actually perform in the show. In this case, it's Annie DeFranco.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just
Annie
wasted.
DeFranco, I believe it is.
Just wasted there.
Kind of,
Well,
yeah.
it's like in 30 Rock when they had
Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight
yeah.
the Pips, and she never sang.
Well, it's funny because this is also a theme of this episode because Hank's mom, also a non-singing role, was played by Tammy Wynette in this episode.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
until we started
Wow.
researching
Yeah.
that.
So it's funny. It's like they just hired them for their voices and not actually their singing. Later on in the B plot of Living on Reds, Vitamin C, and Propane, which was December 14th, 2003, Peggy and Luann try and write a Christmas song themed around the A plot. Which
Wait,
is,
so that the title is a reference to a Grateful Dead song,
yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah. And
Which was Living on Reds, Vitamin C, and Cocaine.
Cocaine,
But this
yeah,
was
yeah,
propane
propane, yeah.
because he's the propane salesman. Okay.
so in the A
When you were
plot,
saying that, I was like, God, that sounds so familiar. Oh, right.
the A plot, Hank is driving some furniture to his mom's home in Arizona, and he chooses to have a time of bonding with Bobby over being a trucker, and then the other guys sneak in and are stuck in the back of the truck, and they cause havoc. But anyway, Luann has an idea for her Christmas song.
Snowman thank Bobby and Uncle Hank for taking him to Arizona, 'cause he wanted to see his friend, the crippled boy, just one more time before he melted. The end. That's my Christmas check-in song.
That we're going to come back to Luann in just a little bit, but we're going to move on to the last member of the immediate Hill family, Bobby.
Right.
So other than the whole celery head thing, he never seriously pursues guitar, and most of his performances are comedy or clowning. In fact, literal clowning. He goes to clown class at one point, the local college. But he does have a brief musical appearance in the November 9th, 2003 episode, Reborn to Be Wild. He hooks up with Pastor K, who is a cool youth pastor he invites Bobby to be his hype man at Messiah Fest, which is a local Christian music festival.
The Lord's my shepherd, I shall not
Bobby doing some hyping up. So he never gets to actually perform, thanks to Hank, who offers up what I think is the greatest insult about Christian rock ever.
Can't you see you're not making Christianity better? You're just making rock and roll worse.
Amen, Hank. Amen.
Preach, brother, preach.
I think you nailed it.
Moving on to the wider Hill family, there's a couple of edge cases. On Hank's side, his cousin Dusty is a kind of another Chuck Mangione situation. He's a fictionalized version of the real Dusty Hill, who was ZZ Top's bassist for 50-some years.
That's right. Although, didn't he also pass away?
He did pass away.
Oh,
yes.
goodness.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Man, they're dropping like flies.
The curse of the King of the Hill.
He shows up in the
Curse of
yeah.
curse of 20 plus years.
Exactly. Yeah. He shows up in
the curse of time. You're saying?
Yes.
The April Fool's edition, the April 1st, 2007 episode, Hank Gets Dusted. And the rest of ZZ Top actually also appear in the show, but they don't actually perform.
Once again.
Yeah. And Peggy's side has Luann Platter, who we mentioned earlier, and that's a joke on Luby's has a dish called the Luann Platter. It's like a
Oh,
specialty
really?
dish. Yeah,
I had no idea.
That's where that comes from. Yeah,
Oh, I had to go to Luby's all the time when we visit my grandmother.
Oh yeah, Luby's is big. And it lives on the show as Luli's. I think they call it Luli's. Yeah. On the 1999 soundtrack album, Brittany Murphy sings a cover of One Tin Soldier with some additional lyrics and character. I think that counts, right?
Soldier rides the
Yeah, I think that counts.
Character, right?
Well, I don't know, because I mean it's in character, but it's like out of canon, because The Simpsons did this like 2 or 3 albums worth of material they put out that was like, you know, them singing in character, but it was not canon to the show. So I don't think
Rockopedia Fake Band does not include musical fake artists.
No, I mean we include artists from albums, so I guess. All right, well, it doesn't fit in. All right, I guess we have to fit that in then. Okay, all right.
Charles, can I get a no?
No, that's not my catchphrase.
No, it's
That's
not.
his catchphrase.
One funny thing about One Tin Soldier, this has nothing to do with King of the Hill. It's just a little funny little factoid, but it ties in with Ozzy Osbourne. On the soundtrack, he mentions the fact that when it was on the Billy Jack movie, and Hank mentions that, and that was sung by the lead singer of Coven, which was a early proto metal-y band, and they first popularized using the devil horns, and they had a song called Black Sabbath on their album, and they were very much an inspiration, even though Black Sabbath always denied it, from some of their early imagery. So,
oh yeah,
wow.
Well, there's also wasn't there a movie Black Sabbath where that's what the name came from?
Yeah,
I think
it's where they picked it from. Yeah, so.
But Ozzy's okay, right?
There's a theme to this episode. Yes.
The last Hill family band is another kind of edge case because it only exists on the 1999 soundtrack album. So this one only exists here. It doesn't have like Luann existing in the world. It's the Hill family singers who perform Mow Against the Grain. And it's pretty much all the voices of the main cast doing this spoken word parody of that Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen song.
Oh, yeah.
That was everywhere for a hot minute at the time.
Baz Luhrmann, right?
Baz Luhrmann, yeah. So here's their version of it.
Never drink anything with an umbrella, a fruit wedge, or a plastic monkey in it.
Remember, butter first, milk second, then add the cheese powder.
Inhale deeply and often. You're paying for the nicotine, you might as well get the most out of it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's time to take a break to fill up our propane tanks, Charles.
Oh, I agree. You know, and so how about we take our break now, and in the second half of the show, let's focus on bands who weren't associated with the Hill and Platter families necessarily.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So when we come back, we'll talk about that. This is the Rock the Beat Effect Bandicoot. And we are back. And so now let's talk about the other characters in King of the Hill.
Dale Gribble, I choose you.
Good choice.
Dale was the conspiracy nut neighbor voiced by Johnny Hardwick.
He was conspiracy before conspiracy was.
He really was, yeah.
I don't want to say cool, but present.
Common, omnipresent. Yeah.
Well, actually, though, if you look, we mentioned earlier, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, which is an interesting, obscure animated adult sitcom from like the, I think, 1970 or so.
70s, yeah.
Yeah, and they actually did have a character on that show who was very much like Dale Gribble. He was like the neighbor, who was like the weird neighbor who was always like looking for commies under his bed kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Dale's very much like kind of a generalist conspiracy person, but and he's also a member of the Arlen Gun Club. That was a big part of his identity. Toby Huss will be voicing him in the reboot since Johnny Hardwick did pass, and Dale was an exterminator by day, but by night he tickled the ivories as Dale Gribble. He was there too. He didn't have a stage name. We first get a taste of his musical talent in the April 16, 2000 episode, Meet the Propaniacs.
Oh, I forgot about that episode.
Oh, yeah.
That's when Bobby starts a propane thief improv troupe with Luann and some members of the Strickland propane staff, most notably Joe Jack.
Joe Jack, yeah.
Who calls everyone honey. And Dale provides the theme music.
The propaniacs on the floor. And we'll make you laugh and laugh and laugh some more. We're the propaniacs.
Maniacs.
For sure. If you're sorry, got the gas, that is the cure. Propaniacs, yeah!
He gets a much bigger musical role in The Bluegrass is Always Greener from February 24th, 2002, which is an episode full of fake bands.
Yes.
The plot is that Connie Supanusenphone, who is Bobby's neighbor and ex, she's practicing her violin, and she's always been pushed to be a classical violinist.
Yeah, the Sufanusophones are kind of like tiger parents.
Yeah,
or
very
tiger
much
moms.
so, yeah. And she hears Hank play Blue Moon of Kentucky on Betsy, and she decides to join in. Dale grabs his keyboards, and Bill gets a washboard, and Boomhauer goes and gets a banjo, and then he also sings lead, but it's kind of a Mel Tillis situation because you can actually understand what he's saying.
Blue moon up, Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on the one night.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's actually Vince Gill singing, not Mike Judge. So they did have a state.
Or Mel Tillis. It wasn't Mel Tillis.
Yeah, not Mel Tillis either. Connie's supposed to go audition for the Van Cliburn Summer Orchestra, which doesn't actually exist. Van Cliburn, though, is from Texas, and
he is
I
a
guess
real
it's
guy,
conceivable that he has a summer orchestra, but he doesn't have one. But instead, they all start the Dale Gribble Bluegrass Experience, and they head to Branson to compete in the Downtown Branson Annual Old Time Fiddle Contest, which is real.
Woo. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's actually a real thing. Dale decides to go off, and he and Bobby go and see Yakov Smirnoff, and Dale pepper sprays him.
I'm cool with that.
Bobby sells him a joke, but then Dale pepper sprays him. We do hear about two other acts, the Bluegrass Brothers, who try to psych Hank out because they sit there and they twiddle their beards at him. And then the Harris Twins, whose act involves one holding the fiddle and the other one the bow, which that's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, that's a good trick.
A few years later, in March 16, 2008's Behind Closed Doors, Dale decides to liven up the alley by creating theme music for the guys.
Hank's going to the bookstore. He's going to save the day. Save the day, because that's what he does. Save the day.
Save the day.
And his theme gets stuck in my head. Hank needs a happy pill. So great. The other band that features a major cast member appears in the...
Wait, so are you done with Dale?
That's Dale.
Because I just want to remind everybody he was the manager for Big Mountain Fudge Cack.
That's true. That's right. He was actually a manager for that.
He got the shirts that had read Big Mountain Fudge Cack, but they wore them with pride. So the other band that features a major cast member is in It Ain't Over Till the Fat Neighbor Sings, episode of May 15, 2005. I give you the Harmonaholics and their featured player... Guillaume Fontaine de la Tour d'Autrive, a.k.a. Bill Dautrive. So it's great. We actually at one point learned he's Cajun, and that's his full name. Is
the Billdozer.
Yeah, the Billdozer.
It is pretty funny when they like go back to like his his old family estate, and there's like all these characters out of like a Tennessee Williams play, and
do you
there's
remember who voiced the characters out of the Tennessee Williams play? All of his, I believe they're his brother's ex-wives and one of his cousins.
There was
the Dixie Twin, the Dixie Chicks.
Really? So now the Chicks right?
Yeah, there's Chicks, but they were the Dixie Chicks.
They were the. I want to say Meryl Streep was in that episode.
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
I forget who was his.
Joe Namath, I think, was in there too.
Was it?
Hi everyone. Just wanted to say it was actually Don Meredith, not Joe Namath. Sorry about that.
Who was the one that was getting the vapors?
Oh, yeah. That was Bobby after.
I do believe I'm getting the vapors.
Yeah, so.
I still say that for no reason.
So here's the Harmonaholics.
If I should call you up, invest a dime, and you say you belong to me, and ease my mind, imagine how the world would be so very fine, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. Hey!
They're a weirdly cult-like men's choir that inducts Bill into their ways.
Yeah.
Involves singing, show tunes, and soft rock. Wearing custom-made red silk underwear embroidered with their names on them. And not commenting on the fact that the band's name is incorrectly punctuated as Harmonaholic 'S on the side of the tour bus. I could say that.
Peeve.
Well, seeing how we performed in front of a banner that said the Van Gogh 'S for years.
We did.
I didn't paint that. I did not paint
No,
that.
that was Jason.
That was a tough one there. It's also when people do y'all and they do YA''LL. Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
That's y'all will.
Yeah.
That's what that would be. Y'all will.
Anyway.
It's ya all.
Yeah, all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listeners, if you get nothing else out of all of our podcasts,
where to put that
72
apostrophe.
podcasts we've done so far, it's Y''all.
So back to the punctuation fake bandicoot. Sorry. Anyway, the group is surprisingly serious for a suburban town's men choir. Otto, one of the members, flies in from Amsterdam every week to sing.
What?
And Bill risks going AWOL so that he can sing at a Dallas PBS station's fundraiser.
Yeah, we should point out he's actually in the army as a barber, and going AWOL from the army is
He's a sergeant barber in the army, yes,
Right.
at Fort Blanda. Again, why do I remember all this crap? Anyway, the group is not universally acclaimed. According to Dale Gribble,
Bill, you have to be the stupidest man on the planet to think this is a good idea. Have you seen what you're wearing? That outfit makes you look like a sequined train wreck. Look at you! You're part of a 12-headed jackass! This course is the feces that is produced when shame eats too much stupidity! You people make me envy the deaf and the blind! Underwear! Money! Fat!
I mean, he's not totally wrong.
He has a very good point. Very valid point.
Two more bands of note before we get to the lightning round. Kane and the Stubborn Stain.
Oh, this was a good episode.
Yeah. They appear in the second season episode, The Man Who Shot Kane Skredeberg. It was November 16, 1997, about a month after the album Nimrod came out.
Oh, okay.
So while prom organizers were all excited about finally having a song like Good Riddance, Time of Your Life to play endlessly, we were excited that Green Day had time to play 3/4 of this terrible garage band.
You gotta wonder how much they had to like handicap themselves to play that badly.
I don't know. It's painful to hear, but and the episode is actually less about the music than about paintball, which, based on the clip we just heard, probably for the best. Yeah. It's kind of fun that they played with the band members' roles though, because Kane was voiced by drummer Trey Cool, so the lead singer was voiced by the drummer, and he's also the lead guitarist. Mike Dirnt, who played Zeus, and I believe he was the drummer, and then Billy Joel Armstrong was Face, and I believe he was the bass player. Yeah,
okay. So switch it up for the cartoon.
Yeah. The band popped up again for a non-speaking cameo in the March 1st, 2009 Master of Puppets episode, which is kind of a fun appearance because a character mentions headbanging the Screeching Weasel.
Oh, that's a great band.
So that means either that they play a Screeching Weasel cover or one of their songs is named for the band. And I like the fact they have this reference in there because Mike Dirnt was actually part of the real life Screeching Weasel for the 1994 album, How to Make Enemies and Irritate People.
I didn't realize he was in Screeching Weasel briefly as well.
Just for that one album. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was, they basically decided to break up, but they had one more album I think they had to turn in, or they just wanted to have a go away one. So they broke up shortly after that. The second band of note is miles away from Kane musically and also success-wise. It's Fourscore. Not the Four Scores, as Hank calls them, but Fourscore. It's AKA Chris, Calvin, Cool Chris, and Todd.
There's Chris and there's Cool Chris.
See, I would be mad if I was Chris because I was like, wait a minute.
So
it's Mike and it's Cool Mike.
Yeah. I'm going to let you guys guess the genre. Melodic
Boy
death
band.
metal? Yeah, no. Boy band, yes. Very much a boy band.
Yeah.
They're in the November 3rd, 2002 episode, Get Your Freak Off. And we first hear them when Hank is previewing their CD at a CD store listening station. So, guys, do we have to explain either what a CD is, a CD store is, or a CD listening station is?
Record stores, all this kind of
it's
stuff.
It's like three layers there.
CD, I remember CD listening like stations where it's just like, ooh, this is the height of technology right here.
That was customer service, baby.
I could put on headphones that like 100 other people have worn today. And I can push a button and listen to 6 different CDs.
There was a place in Greensboro called BBCDs, and I remember it was fascinating because there's people who would stay at the listening thing for so long, like all day. And like, what do you do? You just come here and just listen to whole albums sitting on this uncomfortable stool
Are they
hours on end?
Are they homeless?
No, they were there buying. They'd have a big stack of things, and the guys would go back, get the CD from back there, and they always had the empty CDs out on the racks, and you could bring it back there and preview it. Or if you'd spilled water on your copy of Copper Blue by Sugar, you could subtly switch out the water ruined cover for
wait a minute.
I was a badass when I was a kid. What can I tell you?
First you hacked the school paper, now this.
Hank likes the song God Must Be Sad Since He Left You Out of Heaven because, as he said, it's kind of like doo-wop.
One fine day, God was kicking it in heaven.
It does.
I can see that.
But then at their Houston concert, they strip down and start dancing in a very non-doo-wop way. Hank is absolutely appalled.
I saw you walking around with your friends, sweeter than candy, delicious and sweet. If you only knew the way I felt about you, you'd be like that. Can I get me some of that? Can I get me some of that? Freak.
So that's actually what they really sound like.
They don't. That's not doo-wop at all.
No. So now it's time for the speed round.
Okay, I'm ready. What do I win?
There are a ton of bands and artists who are mentioned as part of throwaway jokes. We wanted to get them their due, so here's some equally brief mentions of them. Are you guys ready?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The Amen, the Christian rock band that Pastor K's dad roadies for.
Oh, yeah.
It's from the Reborn to Be Bad to Wild album.
I think there's another show that has a Christian band like the Amen. It was Welcome to Flatch, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Bullet Nose,
forgot about Bullet Nose.
He's a rapper with a bullet in his nose. He's mentioned in the Smoking and the Bandit episode. Bobby and Joseph, who was at that point was voiced by Breckin Meyer, decide to idolize him in part because, as Joseph put it,
you have one wrong sneeze and the whole joint goes up.
Cedar Fever. That was an Arlen area rock band whose name messes up Peggy's internet searches for the disease Cedar Fever in the Hank's Choice episode.
So random.
Pimp Franklin. He's a rapper mentioned in the 2002 season premiere, and according to Bobby, he don't need your respect because he don't pay no man no mind. Johnny Glock with 2 Ks at the end. It's Glockk. He's a dreadlock goateed musician whose poster is on Bobby Hill's wall in the Reborn to Be Wild episode. We learned that Glock set a car on fire because he was dissed, but we never actually hear him perform. We also never learned if it was the owner of the car that dissed him or the car itself.
Ooh, it could have been like the Knight Rider card, right?
Yeah,
Kid,
it could have been like
Kid said something to him.
And they just had to turn it on fire. La Motil, in The Perils of Polling, which is about the 2000 election, Dale mentioned that he planned to go into hiding as this Central American singing sensation, which raises the question of how committed he would have been to the ruse if Hank hadn't intervened and brought him back to the U.S. So
does that count as a fake band because it was just a plan?
I don't know. It's in the Rocklepedia. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, then I guess it does.
And
if
I
it's
entered
there.
it in, so maybe it doesn't count. I don't know.
I'll count it. I'll count it.
Clark Peters, who Tom Landry's middle school's most prominent bully. He also apparently plays drums.
Do you know who Tom Landry is?
Yeah, he's Dallas Cowboys.
He was the first head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. In the Portrait of the Artist as Young Clown episode, which is when Bobby tries to perform as a clown, he shows us some very rudimentary drum beats.
Yeah.
And I believe I picked him for my Make Your Own Fake Band.
When we made our own fake bands, that's who your drummer is. It's a total idiot move, but okay. Of all the drummers, and I can't have Animal. Okay, so I'll pick the one who
someone else already picked Animals. I was like,
we couldn't do Animal because it was in the original list.
Oh, right.
And so because you did Animal, you didn't do it. It's just like, I'll just take the guy who has no idea what he's doing.
I saw it. I was amused by it. So.
It worked. That's what,
Yeah. Jerry Thomas. He's a piano playing appearing at Austin's Starlight Lounge. And according to the gal at the front desk of the Austinental Hotel, as well as Dale Gribble, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's mentioned but not seen in the Hank and the Great Glass Elevator episode, which is the one when Dale ends up dating Ann Richards.
Right. Former governor of Texas.
Former governor, yeah.
I mean, Bill.
I'm sorry, with Bill. You're right. Bill ends up dating her, yeah. And then The Vomit, which is a punk. We're guessing this is a punk band.
One would assume.
Their flyer appears briefly in the Redcorn Gambles with His Future episode. And that's the one where John Redcorn becomes a children's musician.
A very successful one.
Very successful.
Yes.
And with that, we come back full circle to John Redcorn again.
Yeah.
And here's hoping there will be more fake bands in the reboot and the restart, which comes on right now.
You have any sort of predictions of what's coming up for this? I guess there's going to be 2 seasons.
2 seasons. They said that's the plan. Is 2 seasons, and I'm hoping there's some more fake musicians. They seem to have some fun with them in the background as part of jokes, not as much as scattershot as the Simpsons do. But,
right, and there's nothing. Yeah. Do you think you think the 2 seasons is like a hard limit, or is it like if it's really successful, they'll like go for a third?
I don't know. They just been talking about 2 seasons.
Judge's vision is like, well, I got the story arc, and we're only going to do.
It could just be Hulu said, "Hey, could you do 2 seasons?" They said, "Yeah." I mean, streaming shows are not known for lasting a long time, so more than a couple seasons is a lot. So I think that maybe that's what they're going for. And
well, I feel like we're definitely going to get at least a handful of fake bands and musicians out of this. I don't have high hopes for any more Big Mountain Fudge Cake, though. I mean, with the passing.
Well, the band, I mean, they did get together at the end, but John Redcorn was pretty much just a solo musician by the end, so I think they're probably going to write him. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to handle Luann and Lucky. I'm assuming that...
Because she had a daughter.
Yeah, they were originally going to name her Lasagna.
I know.
Yeah.
Because that was her favorite food, but then she came off with the drugs from the childbirth, and then they gave her a real name.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming she's going to be in it. My guess, I'm going to get, well, not Lasagna. What's her name? It's Lynette?
I can't remember.
I don't know right off. But I'm going to say, a big prediction, I'm assuming, because I think I saw from one of the trailers that Bobby's dating a vegan, just put some grass in a bowl kind of thing, that he's going to end up with Connie. I think it's going to end up, the second season to be Bobby and Connie get married.
Ooh,
that's going to be my big prediction for that.
Okay, yeah. I don't know.
Bill finds love.
Well, he's found love a couple times, but yeah, it never really panned out. So
the Billdozer, he needs to find someone.
So far, it's got 100% review on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's like, so it's gotten some pretty good reviews.
All right, so the press is liking it right now.
It must be pretty good, because I mean that's like based on actual reviews of seeing it, not just the hype. So
you don't know if it's going to be like every week, or they're just going to throw it all out at one time, do you?
I'm not sure. I don't know. That's a good question. I guess we'll find out. Go hit Hulu
Once we turn this off and go turn on the TV, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. King of the Hill. It's today, August 4th.
2025.
2025. It all comes back. So it's going to be exciting. Until next week and the start of all the Spinal Tap fun, I'm Charles. There's Alan.
That boy ain't right.
There's T-Mike.
Yep.
And this has been the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica, a production of the Van Gogh Sketch Comedy Group. The hosts are Alan Benson, T. Mike Childs, and Charles Rempel. Our editors are Alan Benson and Charles Rempel. Please be sure to subscribe to the Rocklopedia on your service of choice so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you, so leave a review or email us at fakebands@vgg.com. And don't forget to visit fakebands.com and the mothership, vgg.com. Thanks for listening.